give me a thumbs up if you can see. Okay, great, excellent. All right, I'm actually really excited for today. This presentation, this workshop is going to be talking about incorporating immersive technology in world languages. And we're going to be looking at ImmerseMe, a specific platform. And then we're also going to be talking about VR applications that are available for any language that you teach. And I'm hoping that this inspires you, gives you some ideas, and I hope that you can incorporate some of these ideas and then come back to us. So just a little agenda for the day. I'm going to go ahead and get started as people join. Give a little introduction, talk about VR and what we've been working on this fall, and talk a little bit about extended reality and what that is in language learning. After that, I'm going to hand it over to Scott, who's graciously come here all the way from New Zealand to join us and talk about his platform, ImmerseMe, which I will just say is fantastic, looking for language content and being able to see virtual reality in beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And he is coming out. He hasn't even launched in the US yet, but it's amazing to have him here. And we'll also be talking about other virtual reality applications that you can implement right now. And I want to respect everyone's time. We'll end at 4 o'clock today, but I will stay for a little bit so we can brainstorm some specific activities that we could do with what we're talking about and keep a list of that. Because I want to hear your input. I want to hear how you guys would use this. And then I've mentioned Scott's here again, all the way from New Zealand as we're ending our day. I think you're beginning your day, Scott. What time is it there? Oh, I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Yeah, it was just gone 11 a.m. So it's not too, it's late morning. So we're a day ahead though. So we're in Wednesday already.
Excellent. And like I mentioned, I think Scott's not even really out on the US market yet. He hasn't officially launched. So he does have a Colorado connection, and I'll let him talk about that more with his presentation. But you can see here, I grabbed this picture. Scott's a really fun guy, and I'm excited to be partnering with him on some of this ImmerseMe technology and platform. So I'll catch you guys up a little bit about what we've been doing at Alltech. We've had a pilot for this fall where we've been able to work with 3 faculty in virtual reality. We were able to design a Google Cardboard certified headset and viewer. And this kind of slips out of the box, and is something that students could put their own phone in. So we really are looking at with mobile technology, trying to make it accessible, and wanted to see what students thought. So we had faculty work with us, and we were able to give them virtual reality assignments and activities using apps. And also all the students got a free trial of ImmerseMe. And the feedback that we got were that if students liked the headsets, or if they didn't like the headsets, mobile phone, tablets, PC, they liked these kind of activities. And so I think that's one of the reasons that we wanted to continue this and look at XR and see how this could be utilized in language programs going forward. And then if you're like me, I didn't know much about XR, so I'll give you a little bit of these terms that I'm now using every day. XR stands for extended reality, and it's kind of the umbrella term that can encompass and cover virtual reality, or VR, or augmented reality, AR. So those are the acronyms. And then this type of immersive technology can extend the reality that we have by bringing in different concepts, pictures, alter where we are, or it could be fully immersed in the digital world. So in a digital video, for example. So I just wanted to point that out. And the other piece I wanted to mention was that students are utilizing this extended reality on all different types of platforms. So I'm hoping that some of the materials that I'm providing today will be able to give you a way to jump in, whether students are using their PC. Everyone's walking around with their mobile phone. So this is becoming more and more accessible and useful, and tablets and just different ways that you can bring it into the classroom. And then specifically for language learning, we have the traditional way that we've learned. And here in the pandemic, we've had to jump into this online world, and students really are accessing your class using their mobile phones, their PCs, and getting into the online learning. But adding some of this extended reality into language learning can be a really safe space. Students are used to this, like as I mentioned, using digital technology to access their coursework. And also it's kind of a judgment-free, not on the spot way to access language and to practice. Scott will talk more about that, I'm sure, in his product. But what are we really talking about when we're looking at language learning? Well, there is a huge cultural component. There's virtual tours and locations, museums, 360 videos and photos, and different apps that are out there. And then why would you maybe incorporate some of this in your coursework? Again, cultural connections and themes. It's important when you have language learners. Authentic resources. If you want to get a document from the 1700s, you could actually bring that document into the room. It can be in the native language. And so you could also go to the street in a different country and explore. So these are authentic and real resources that could be made accessible right in their hands. And also it's a great tool to make comparisons. So whether you're looking at different vocabulary, accents, or maybe even just different countries. And then finally, it's engaging and fun. And I want to say this because learning a language is not easy. And getting a student to progress in a language, it takes so much work to learn a language. Everyone's different. And when you have tools like this that help make it fun and exciting and engaging, I think that helps a student progress, stick with it, and want to get to a higher level. And then finally, if you're interested in XR, we are going to be looking at ImmerseMe and other VR apps this spring. And if you would like to incorporate this type of technology for your students, reach out to us, let us know. We want to hear about it, and I'll be sending out a survey at the end with a link, and you can enter your information if you want to be contacted. And we also hope to be starting up an immersive technology working group with language faculty and also with different people, CTL and Asset on campus, stakeholders, and bring them in to talk about different ways we could incorporate this in class, what direction, pedagogy, and other ideas you might have. So we are not the experts, but we're hoping that we can help develop you guys into being the experts. We would love to be able to support you, give you the tools to take it to the next step. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Scott, who's been so patient, and he's going to be talking about ImmerseMe, which is an awesome platform and a tool that we can be using to practice listening, speaking, reading, writing. So take it away, Scott. I'm going to stop sharing.
Oh, thank you very much, everybody, and nice to meet you. Greetings from New Zealand. So we would say kia ora koutou, and no mai haere mai, which means welcome and greetings to everybody here today. My name is Scott, and yeah, I'm here to present ImmerseMe. So let me just go ahead and share my screen. I've just put a message in the chat. Just want to know what languages we're covering in this call, because I can show you all of these 9 as examples, and I think we've already established Spanish, Italiano, Francais, all right, Catalan, okay. I don't know if we have Catalan exactly, but we can do Spanish. In fact, I just heard from this Spanish language EOI in El Maestro, I think it is, just overnight. I don't know if that's, I think that's Maestrat, I think it is, which is area of Spain that speaks Catalan, I'm assuming, but English. All right, cool. So ImmerseMe, this is all about application of language and context and providing students with sort of real life scenarios in an asynchronous environment. So that's all pre-recorded scenarios for them to practice their productive language skills, actually covering kind of reading comprehension, listening comprehension, spoken output, and written output. So I'm just going to go right ahead and jump into some lessons. So let's start in Italy. Let's go start our day, and we'll go order a coffee in a cafe in Rome, actually. So I won't go into too much detail just yet with some of the modes that are available. I'll just show you how it works to start with. So let's do pronunciation mode. Can everyone see my screen okay? Is that okay, Karen? Yeah.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, vorrei un caffè, per favore.
Certo, intendi un espresso?
Sì, un espresso, va bene, grazie.
Lo vorresti al banco o al tavolo?
Lo prendo al banco, per favore.
Il caffè costa €1.
Tenga, grazie mille. And so there we have our first interaction. So this is ImmerseMe basically in a nutshell is videos that you can follow along and practice your output. And there's also modes here where you practice the spelling and the typing of those sentences as well. I'll just jump into another language and maybe talk through some of the more learning modes that are available. So let's go to French. Let's go to the boulangerie in Paris. So every conversation is scripted. There are sentence variations in here. They do have to follow these. At the moment, we are looking at making it more sort of AI driven and natural language processing based. But for this moment, we're just trying to give students a couple of example sentences they can use in the context of this scenario. And these learning modes are designed to sort of scaffold it. So they start by just getting the sentence shown to them on screen. Then they produce it by writing it out. Then they move into translation mode where the sentence is shown but in English, and they have to come up with the spoken language themselves, target language sentence. And then there's an immersion mode where they have to try and interpret some sort of target language instruction and then use some keywords and construct one of these sentences based on that information. So that's our sort of scaffolding. If I jump into pronunciation mode, I'll show you some of the options on the screen.
Bonjour, bienvenue à la boulangerie. Que puis-je vous servir, s'il vous plaît?
I'll just show you quickly that, what's the mic? This is a 3D video, so you can actually look around, hence why you can use it in virtual reality. When you put a headset on, you kind of feel like you're actually there, which gives you that sense of immersion and presence, I guess. But the point is that you're actually engaging in the language. So we give you the written language on the screen. We let you listen to it. You can slow down the native speaker and play the audio back at a slightly slower speed.
Bonjour, bienvenue à la boulangerie. Que puis-je vous servir, s'il vous plaît?
You can see a translation of what she's saying written out in English if you're not quite sure of the sentence itself. And then these are the options on the screen that you can sort of select from. You can listen to them.
Bonjour, je voudrais du pain, s'il vous plaît.
And the idea is that you just practice your speaking. So you just jump right in and start recording. Bonjour, je voudrais du pain, s'il vous plaît.
Quelle sorte de pain voulez-vous?
Une baguette, s'il vous plaît.
Une baguette? Voilà, très bien. 1 €, s'il vous plaît.
Voilà, bonne journée.
Merci beaucoup. Bonne journée. Au revoir.
And then that finishes the lesson. So the idea is that I can then work through that lesson in these different modes where I type out the sentences myself by practicing just the accents and stuff. I'm not tested on the letters, or sorry, on the sentences. I'm just showing the sentence and I have to just literally type it out. I don't know if anyone remembers like Mavis Beacon, which is like a typing program we used to use. And
Bonjour, bienvenue à la boulangerie. Que puis-je vous servir, s'il vous plaît?
point is that it's processing, it's receptive processing. So you can see the sentence already on the screen and you're just following it, typing it out over top as a way of, as a really achievable way of having success. And so you have to use correct accents. So you've got to put the grave on that one and then boulangerie. So all the, any special characters are built into the system. So that's the second option, space, question mark. And we continue.
Bonjour, je voudrais du pain, s'il vous plaît.
And it moves into a spelling mode where the sentence, the words themselves are hidden. So now I'm having to come up and produce the target language myself. So if I try this mode now, and then I'll jump into another language very shortly.
Bonjour, bienvenue à la boulangerie. Que puis-je vous servir, s'il vous plaît?
So I'm presented with underlines instead of the words, and I'm given the punctuation so as not to confuse me, so with commas and things like that. But I have to still enter them. Bienvenue. But as soon as I make a mistake, it will underline the word, and so I need to go back and fix that. Boulangerie. Bienvenue à la boulangerie. Et voilà.
Bonjour.
And then translation, I'm just translating from English, seeing the English and then producing the target language. In immersion, I'm interpreting the instructions. So I'll jump into another language. Let's have a look at English. And so we have got the ability to tailor, there's quite a lot of material on here. So we've got all sorts of topics, scaffold or different levels as well, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Some of the advanced stuff is really interesting, like talking about the advantages of vegetarianism, for example, where you have to give a perspective, and we do script those perspectives, but we try to kind of balance the perspectives so that you're role-playing different ways of responding to questions. And so there's a lot of really interesting vocabulary being used in these kinds of conversations. So it's a really great application of language, as I mentioned at the start. And we can tailor the layout of these units to follow the same layout that you might follow. So you can submit like my topic list or my unit plan, and we can create a special header for each section. So instead of ages and animals, etc., could be unit 1, and then it could have all the lessons that are most relevant that we've created for that unit, all in the same place. And from there, you can click copy link, and you can email a link to that unit to your students once they're set up with an account, and that'll take them straight into that part of ImmerseMe. So it's tailorable in terms of layout. Let's go to the, I don't know, let's go to the street scene. And let's greet a stranger politely. I think I'm in this one, actually. Yeah. Hello, how are you today?
Hi, I'm great, thanks.
That's great. Have a nice day.
You too.
Anyone recognize this spot? This is the Tower of London. Sorry, Big Ben, Tower of London. Big Ben, Queen Elizabeth Tower, isn't it? That's what it's called. And this is, I think, Parliament Square in London. Bye. They're already gone. So I also now want to show, so that's kind of the student zone. You can download the scripts directly from our website, including the sentence variations if there is variations on sentences. And there's a lot of material to have a look at. So I think we're going to be setting up accounts for each of you to play if we haven't done already. What I'm going to do is jump into the teacher dashboard and show you as a teacher what you can access in terms of data, and you can create your own assignments essentially. So this is Karen's dashboard at the University of Colorado Boulder. There's a couple of classes that are registered already. You can see some of the students have started earning points, which is awarded when you get a successful utterance in one of the lesson modes. And so you can sort of see a table of names and then points, responses, accuracy, time spent using the website, actively using the website, actually practicing their listening and speaking, how many times they've started a lesson mode and then gone all the way through to completion, number of logins. You can drill down on a particular student and you can see the date that they may have recorded their responses. You can look at which lessons they were working through. So this is really interesting to try and to understand that you can now assign, you know, speaking, listening, revision, and have it be completed without relying on a native speaker. So the students can be at home in a kind of a safe learning environment and able to be having meaningful interactions in the target language, be talking in Spanish in their bedroom, you know. So all that data is available. If you want to assign students something to work on specifically, you can create what's called a task. So you click new task, you can give it a title, you can call it revision, whatever units, 3, 4, 5, or whatever it is, and then you can write a description. Hola, you know, let's focus on building our confidence in listening and speaking, something like that. You can choose whether you want students to complete all pathways within a conversation. So often they branch out in different directions, like the baguette scenario. I could have chosen a baguette or a whole wheat loaf or a country loaf. So you could say learn all the different pathways or just focus on completing the conversation once through. So you can choose, I'll just choose say Spanish, choose the layout option. There is a layout option in here for under 3rd edition. I think that must have been requested already. Then I can set it till say next Friday at midday. Now I can choose my class. So let's say I'm teaching this group of students. I can assign it to all of them. Then I can choose, what was it, units 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to allocate all the lessons from 3, from 4, and from 5. I'm going to go to next. Now I can choose which modes they focus on. So I might actually pull them away from immersion to start with, just because I want them to just go back and do some revision. So I don't want them doing typing either, because it's not as productive. So I want them focusing on pronunciation, spelling, and having a go at translation as well. This is about 2 hours and 2.5 hours worth of work to do. So 300 sentences need to be recorded in order to complete this. So I may actually cap it at say 100 points or sentences, which should be less than an hour to go through. So if I click assign, this will create a task. It's got a link to that task. So if I click on that link, it saves it to my clipboard. I can email that to my students, and then that will take them straight to that unit when they log in. So here are all the lessons, and as soon as they get to 100 points, their task will be completed. So it's hopefully quite simple to direct students towards what you want them to focus on, and they can start working through the conversations in the modes that are available to them.
¿Cómo es tu casa?
Mi casa es un piso. So I need to re-record that.
Mi casa es un piso.
Mi casa es un piso. Mi casa es un piso.
¿Cuántas habitaciones tiene? Tiene 2 habitaciones.
Tiene 2 habitaciones.
¿Y tiene balcón? Sí, tiene un balcón y una terraza.
Sí, tiene un balcón y una terraza. Sí, tiene un balcón y una terraza.
¿Tiene piscina?
No, porque tiene un patio pequeño.
Ah, sí, vale. ¿Y tiene garaje?
Sí, tiene 2 garajes. Cool. And voila. So that's how ImmerseMe works, right? It's all about production and context. And I guess we are working on a new type of sort of learning mode where there's a short delay between the prompt and the microphone being recorded. So you will start a timer. In fact, I can actually probably show you this on our beta site. There's only actually one lesson. It's that bakery one that you can do it with at the moment. But it's getting a bit of a makeover in terms of layout. Actually, is this working? No, not yet. There's a few voices we're picking up as well to listen to all the different sentences. At the moment, you can only hear the first one, but we want to add sentence variations, audio for sentence variations. And so you'll be able to do ImmerseMe in what's called delayed mode, which will mean you have to keep that sentence in your head for 5 seconds while you wait to then produce the output.
Bonjour, bienvenue à la boulangerie. Que puis-je vous servir, s'il vous plaît?
So the instruction is to just practice it to yourself first. When you're ready, click start timer. So now the prompt's gone and I have to wait. Bonjour.
Quelle sorte de pain voulez-vous?
I clicked skip before before I finished saying it. But basically, you will have to wait and keep that in your mind while you wait, and it's a form of retention. It's hopefully to help with training your working memory to take something from short-term to sort of more long-term memory.
So Scott,
yeah.
real quick, I've got a question. will
Yeah,
faculty
sure.
be able to choose what kind of mode so they can pick and sort of select to have that delay?
Yeah, well, part of the task assignment section will probably introduce that requirement. So you might say do pronunciation in delayed mode only, etc. So that's a functionality we'll look to add once delayed is actually completed. So that's actually pretty much it for the moment. The other thing is that it's obviously I'm using this on my computer and phone, mobile, tablet, and yeah, VR headset. We are working on iOS mobile cardboard at the moment though, so you need an Android phone I think to do the cardboard view, but otherwise most of our usage comes through laptops and tablets basically, so it's easy to access. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm happy to take some questions now, or else you might want to continue on with your presentation, Karen. Yeah, what would you like to do next?
I'd love to see if anyone has any questions. I know that was a big overview, and I will get everyone an account after this so they could trial it for 30 days to see if this is something that you're interested in, that you like. Does it match your content of what you're planning to teach? Because I know that's always important too. So, but yeah, does anyone have questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
Is there any integration with Canvas, or is it just you just embed the link?
Yeah, good question. We haven't yet been able to, well, we're still sort of working on the raw functionality of the website, but we are planning to look at integrations. And yeah, so at the moment you would just grab like a link to the lesson you want them to focus on and just drop that into Canvas manually, I guess, rather than click a button and have it open Canvas and open up a task and things like that. So yeah, it is a slightly manual process at the moment, but I guess it is still available just to click and copy and paste. But yeah, that's something that we are looking at investing in next. There's Canvas and there's quite a few other ones, Compass and Google Classroom, all those kind of LMSs. So yeah, that's on the list. But for the moment, you just copy and paste. And there's another question about languages. We are looking into more languages for sure. One of the limitations we have is around the speech recognition technology. So I think we have access to something like 40 languages or variations through Google Cloud text-to-speech. And so that's probably the limitation for what we can offer. But we are looking at languages like Portuguese, Russian. These are the options that they cater to on their system that we kind of tap into as part of our AI technology. So if it's on this list, then it's kind of doable, but it just is a demand thing. Can students browse or only see what I assign? No, they can browse. So they can, anything you assign is first and front and center, it's the top of the list. But other than that, they can switch the layout into, say, the textbook and then scroll down and find a unit that they want to start working on if they finish their task, for example. And yeah, we kind of like it that students can kind of have a play and look into other languages and things as well. Cool. Thanks, Susanna. Thanks for the questions, everybody. I'm sure there's probably others that you think of, so I feel free to sort of relay them through Karen. I think we're going to start with a bit of a pilot next semester. So yeah, really excited about that. And thank you for wanting to be part of our, being one of the first schools in the US, one of the first institutions in the US. We actually are officially launching ImmerseMe at the Launchpad event through Actful in February. It was going to be happening at their convention, but it got shifted to February the 20th, and we're a finalist in that event. So it's going to be our big launch into the US. So we're hoping to get a few testimonials along the way before we launch. So if anyone's interested in sharing their experience of using ImmerseMe and any feedback you might have, that would help us hugely. We're a small but passionate team down here in New Zealand and Australia who are working on this full time. So yeah, thanks very much for having me today, Karen, and wish you all the best, and yeah, keep well, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. I appreciate your time and coming out. And he's also been talking to the Air Force in Colorado Springs and St. Vrain Valley School District. So that's kind of fun. We might have Scott in person, and hopefully, hope this pandemic ends and you can come out and
I'm on the first flight over. That'd be amazing. I'm a bit of a skier, although my my mum had a wee ski accident a few months ago and snapped her femur. I think it's the thigh bone, right? And completely snapped it in half. She wasn't even doing anything exciting. She literally just stopped and then fell to the side. But anyway, she's doing all right now. But I'd love to come over and check it out. We've got USA Air Force Academy, St. Brain. So hopefully we can make a bit of a language cluster, not a COVID cluster. That's the opposite.
I like it. Perfect. All right. Well, we'll be in touch with Scott, and I'm going to go ahead and keep sharing my screen. I want to go back through, if Scott's working on one of your languages and it's not available for you yet, you still have hope. I think we're all used to going into YouTube and searching for VR content, or not for VR content, but for just videos to include in our courses, whether we're going to embed or we're going to link to that. And the other thing I wanted to mention is YouTube now has a category of 360-degree videos. That catalog and library is growing. I think that some of the limitations are some are more immersive than others. Some have language components, some don't. Just like as we have for videos, you have to kind of search for that and try to find the best tool. However, students are able to utilize that on their phone. And besides YouTube, there's other links, as I was saying. Virtual museums around the world are opening because of COVID. It's an exciting time to find new resources. I was thinking of coming together with a language list, and it's changing every day for what people are adding. And I believe with YouTube and having the ability, we're seeing more and more people uploading 360-degree videos because your phone can do that. So that's one resource that I wanted to share. Another app that I wanted to share that I thought was really fun and something that we worked on this fall was looking at Google Expeditions. I shared in the chat, and I want to make sure that you guys can see it, a list of different resources and platforms, and Google Expedition is listed in there. They have a ton of languages available. And so here I just wanted to show you, this is my example of looking at it in Spanish. I have the ability to work within VR or AR in Google Expeditions. I can utilize content that's already in there. You're able to bring your own students on a tour. So before this class, I could create my own tour. I could guide everyone along the way and direct people and do voiceover if I'd like to. So this is it also, I have to say, for Google Expedition, it's really nice for students to be able to have that on their phone and to experience that in their phone. If you don't have a VR viewer, it won't split the screen and will still allow you to spin around and have different views. So I think this is a really nice resource available.
Hi, language teachers. Welcome to Google Arts and Culture.
So that's a little creepy. Hopefully you can hear that if I enabled that. But I showed that to my husband, who was like, that's a lot of teeth. So what this is it's also interactive and immersive. Expeditions is what I've heard is probably moving a lot of their content on to Google Arts and Culture. They have all kinds of interactive ways to look at artwork, experiences, museums, places, games. What I did in that video was a portrait. I could have been Frida. They gave me a list of a bunch of different people that I could have tried on. This one I think is really fun because they also have a large language component and resources. And I think that students really like it. The other thing I just wanted to show you with their AR and VR within arts and culture is I'm able to bring in assets. So if I'm interested in animals, history, art, or architecture, if you're covering a piece in your course, you might want to look at what they have available. And again, their library is growing, but here I was looking at a 9-domed mosque, and I was able to bring it from my phone out into my workspace here And then I was also able to enter that in my workspace and be surrounded by the dome. And so you can see my painting is in there, and it's also behind me here. So I felt, you know, I could look up, I could look down, I could see bits and pieces. So if you're talking about parts of these culture in your class, vocabulary, I think this is a really great tool to check out. The other piece that I wanted to look at too was, if you haven't used already, Street View is really fantastic. Something that you can travel anywhere into the world. You can use the VR technology, and you also can upload 360-degree images and photos. So if you wanted your students to create something, that might be a nice app that they could play around with. And then another virtual reality and immersive experience that kind of has 3D and 2D views would be Google Earth. And so I just wanted to kind of go there. So before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and click off, and just wanted to see here as an example. And I was visiting Japan. Can everyone see that view? Okay. All right. So this is really fun. I can start in this country. I'm able to take my students on a guided tour. I can have them click on this. I can actually have them play around with the entire map. I can have it go 3D. I can pin myself. I can actually follow a guide. So if I wanted to, let me go back. So if, again, I'm trying to look at Japan, see if it'll take me to pop culture, I can choose one of their pre-selected guides if I wanted to. And I can have my students go all the way there. And now I am here. And I'm taking them to this specific complex. You can have them go to several places. This is really limitless. And again, it's growing. So I think this is fun, but I am able to show them around. I can have them go here on a tour. And of course I get to read. I can observe as I go through here. And this is just on my PC. This is not on my phone, where it could feel more immersive as well. So just wanted to share that. And then from there, I kind of wanted to see if you guys in the chat, feel free to unmute yourselves if you wanted to. Have any of you guys used these tools before? Has anyone used VR before? Feel free to unmute yourself. We can chat it out. Okay, well, if not, I want to kind of come up and brainstorm some activities. So you can see right here, when it comes to these apps, I've been able to engage my ears. I've been able to engage my eyes. I've been able to look and read. And I think some of these, you could probably come up with some writing afterwards, some prompts going to visit. So I wanted to stop sharing and just kind of come up with a brainstorm if you guys would be willing to converse with me and talk about what would you do with some of these activities in class? How could you use this? In what ways?
Maybe with some geography. So let's say I have to talk about one of the region in Italy. So maybe as you were looking at the Japan, and make them look at that. And I like the way they say, okay, like observe what is around you. I think I like that idea.
Good, yeah. Anything else you guys saw?
I actually did something with Google Earth, just, we're working on a restaurant. And so I made the student go look at a very famous French restaurant. And after that, they had to look through Google Earth to find a monument that they would like to visit, and then make a little description of, their way to go there and what they would see and all that just going through Google Earth and take picture at the same time and put that on a little Padlet.
Awesome.
That worked well. They liked it.
Good. I like that idea.
You could have students interact and create role plays where one student is a tourist and the other one is someone there. So that way you're asking questions, giving directions, giving recommendations. So you can practice a lot of different language points.
Perfect. Yeah. I like that you had pair work in there too, because, you know, it's fun to do this on your own, but, you know, it's nice to get them to talk to each other.
And if you really wanted to engage the whole class, you could have different people work on different things, like they're taking a joint trip and one group's responsible for transportation, one's for culture, one's for lodging, one's for entertainment. So
yeah,
and then they put together and you could give them budgets to work within and all kinds of stuff.
Well, that's creative. That's good. Awesome. Anything else coming up for your class? Thoughts or ideas? How many of you here actually have an app downloaded on your phone right now? Yeah. Well, I'd like to give you guys homework. If you haven't done this, you know, I have that list in here in the chat at the very beginning of the chat. I've got a shared document and you guys can feel free to go into that. It has links on the expedition. I haven't really covered within VR. So would you guys want me to show you within VR?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Within VR is something that I think is really, might be fascinating for, I'm thinking Kirsten right now, who's at the IEC, because they have a lot in English. So I think that when it comes to different languages, it's sometimes harder to see all of that. So it's right here. If you guys can see my screen.
Yes.
Make it a little bigger. This is called Within VR. This is actually my student worker's favorite resource himself. He's an international student learning English, and he thought that this was really fun for him. They have different experiences in here. They also have a few experiences, for example, in different languages. And so I'll just give you one of these. If I had my viewer, I could put it in VR motion. Right now it's not, but see, I can look around. Sorry, it's hard in my PC to drive and do it. So, and they just have really fun things that I think you could check out. And I was looking, you know, in different ones. They have movies on here that are in 3D, really fun examples there. Also in this document, I think I've got some Google Arts and Culture where you can link to. I went ahead and listed out what languages were available. This is one of the reasons I spent a lot of time with arts and cultures, because I was like, it's growing, it's getting bigger. And for me, the interaction and being able to put myself into artwork or places or bring those things into life, make it really fun for me. And then the other thing that I haven't really talked about in this presentation, because I think it's something I want to play with more, is AltSpace. AltSpace is a virtual gathering. It's something that, you know, I know Pilar and I have talked about for our conversation clubs at Alltech. And I think when I'm ready to play in the avatar mode and sort of that second life, this might be a really nice and easy. So I went ahead and listed it. It's in English, but of course, when you go in there, it's a social. So you would enable your microphone and you could speak in any language in AltSpace. So there's a few of those. Yeah. Nice. And then a few activities that I had for the ones is we've had obviously virtual field trips. You can send students anywhere. you can tell them to find a place that you'd like to visit that speaks the language you're teaching, right? You can have them explain it. I don't always think that it's the most time efficient. I mean, I do think some of these activities, it's worth saying that scaffolding is really important, because explaining what technology they're going to use, how they're going to be able to use it, giving accessible alternative options if people don't have the bandwidth or the type of device. I think that's something to consider. But also having the students work and finding the resources for you for your next class, then I think that's a great idea. You know, you can always look for examples that bring culture to life, that have a video that cause an emotion or feeling, that help explain what it would be like to be there in a much more immersive way than watching a 2D video. You can also create fictional spaces. I know Kirsten went to the co-spaces. You could make your own with the virtual reality. They also have on YouTube some stories, some mysteries, some games and riddles. You're finding more and more platforms that are working with the integration of VR. And so a lot of these games can go into a VR mode, and those can be language games. So that's fun. But yeah, we were talking about looking at just even reading. A lot of these tours have a heavy reading component, and you can always assign writing pieces to it. So yeah, that's kind of what we looked at our working group. And then we've got from Susanna. Yes, we are going to be having this for fall. We provided these types of headsets for faculty who are interested in looking at incorporating immersive technology, videos, experiences into their coursework for students. So these headsets were made available for faculty. We will be getting more, so please let me know. This works with most phones. I have a really large phone. Again, students would put in their phone to this part, cover it. And then if sometimes on the Google Expedition, I need to click on something to listen to it or to move it or to navigate to the next spot, it also has a finger hole here that you can work on and click away. I will say when it comes to VR that some students, actually I'm finding a lot of students have been using this in K through 12. So more students than I had imagined. I think students are enjoying this in that area. So coming to higher ed, looking at research and trying to find out what's available, there wasn't much. And so I think a lot of students are coming in with this experience, and some prefer the more robust headsets and some don't. We have heard from a few students, and it's possible. If you've not tried this and want to, let me know. We can get you a set. But it can cause motion sickness for some people. Scott, do you have any thoughts on that or background or experience with that?
It'll take a while. Like, the technology is still catching up. Your eye has a certain frame rate, and it's faster than most what most videos play at. And so as soon as the frame rate gets to that speed, it won't be as bad. But what happens is basically it's kind of like a strobe in some ways for your brain. It's not like a strobe, but it is when you're being presented with a certain frame rate, but your brain moves faster. It's like, and so that can kind of throw off your center balance and things like that. So you kind of get that motion sickness feeling, but it's getting better. And I think the more established headsets and stuff like that have much better speeds and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's just use it for a short time only, and take regular breaks, I guess, as well.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
From me, or just in general, I just think definitely Google Expeditions is really cool. I've had like a whole class of students with the goggles on, with the cardboard, and I've controlled it all from an iPad or a phone, and you can control what everyone's looking at in their viewer, and you can draw on the screen and it shows up on their screens. You can highlight a certain landmark or whatever, and you can point them towards it. So if they're facing the opposite direction, they get pointed back to what you want to see. It's pretty cool actually. And so you can kind of take them through a tour of the Great Wall of China or over Paris. There's some really cool flyover tours that you can do where you're just stationary, but you're up high and you're looking down on, say, the Arc de Triomphe or something like that before it had its fire. So it's pretty cool, actually. Very, very cool technology.
Awesome. Well, I think we're good for today. I was going to say, if there's anything else that you guys were thinking about, my plan is, yeah, Kiara.
I have a question. You said that you will allow us to look for 1 month the ImmerseMe, giving us some, and I was wondering if at least I can get it, not now, but a little bit later, because it would be easier for me to look through the break, because right now it's getting pretty busy this semester. So I know I won't be able to look too much into that, and I would like to.
Yeah, that works for me. Scott, does that work for you?
Yeah, sure. No worries. I'm happy to set up, complimentary accounts for all of you to use over the next couple of months, and just have a play. There's no real expectation. We're just keen to get some feedback from you, and as we release sort of new features and things like that, you'll see changes going up. But it's all based on kind of feedback from language educators that we're working with down here in New Zealand and Australia. So yeah, from us to you, it's great to be able to kind of work across the world. It's pretty exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I will say, going forward, if someone's like, I would like to use this in spring, let me know, Kiara, after you've experimented and played with it, if it's something that you would like support with and you think this would be a good class to use it in. We'd love to be able to talk more and help.
Thank you, Karen.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, you guys have some homework. I'm gonna call it early, unless you guys want to download something on your phones right now and try it out. Anyone? I'm looking at Pilar. If you haven't tried it, I really do encourage you guys. It's super easy to download. I play with this with my 9-year-old. So I really enjoy my work when I get to incorporate my son into it, and he has a lot of fun with these. So, Scott says definitely download Expeditions. Yeah, I would say if you guys have your phones available, and it's homework if you can't do it now, but to download either Expeditions or Google Arts and Culture, and maybe see which one you like better. I've played with both. Oh, and you like with NVR. Okay. Scott, you too? You want to talk about with NVR?
It's just cinematic and beautiful. They've gone and made these like short form but gorgeous stories about like that bull one. It's pretty cool. You've got the headset on or whatever. The bull comes charging at you and it's like and it goes underneath you or whatever. But it's pretty engaging. Like what we're trying to do as language educators is we're trying to sit here in our classrooms or wherever and try and help transport students' imaginations to these places, but it's all real stuff, and if we can actually bring it in and make it more visual, it definitely helps in setting the scene and helps setting understanding. And rather than language being kind of like I don't know what the word is, but language is just the interaction between people and places, right? So it's all physical things that we can show them to help inspire and trigger their imagination, and if we can drop them into a scenario or whatever using this kind of technology, you don't even have to be in the full headset setup. That's a added bonus. That is
cool.
It's cool.
I want everyone to experience it, and
totally.
I gotta wait for the cost to go down for all those headsets, right?
Yeah, like there's some beautiful headsets out, like the Oculus Quest that's just come out. The second version is absolutely gorgeous, and it's it's $300 or $400 US probably, and like that's come down a lot. Like we're talking, this thing can do everything that you want to do in VR, but literally 3 years ago or 5 years ago when I started ImmerseMe, you had to have a $10,000 setup in order to do the exact same thing that you can do for $300 now. So that scale is coming down so fast. And I can imagine, like it's just a tool. Like it's just something you use occasionally to sort of put someone into a scenario for a few minutes, get them to sort of imagine something or visualize it, and then talk about it, and then engage in conversation and yeah, use it as a way to introduce or to create interaction or to, you know, generate creativity or whatever you want to do. It's just a tool that you can use along with everything else, basically. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I agree. Students are saying they enjoy it. They enjoy jumping in, to feel immersed, to feel interactive, and to explore. So I hope you guys have fun, and, you know, let me know how it goes. I'll be in touch, and I hope you guys are in touch and do your homework and have fun with it. Go make an art selfie, right? You can make a video. You could just take a picture, send it to your friends. Little low-level assignment there. Wow.
Oh, thanks, teacher Sensei.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you guys. Yeah, did it.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you very
Sure.
much. Thanks for having me. Have a good afternoon, evening.